afternoon, everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started today. So my name is Thad Graham. I'm the Education Specialist with the Victim Services Program here at Family Services Incorporated. Today we have LGBTQ plus Runaway and Homeless Youth. Our presenter today is actually going to be Brittny Servello. She is our Victim Service Program Helpline advocate and our program expert when it comes to LGBTQ plus. So Brittny, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Thad.
Okay, Brittny, they're all yours. I'll be here in the background if you need anything. Have fun.
Hi, everyone. As Thad said, I am Brittny Servello. I'm the Victim Services Helpline advocate. So from 8:30 to 4:30 every day, I'm the person that you would talk to, or if you refer someone to us, that they would talk to. So today we're going to be talking about LGBTQ, runaway, and homeless youth. So I do want to let everyone know the information that you can hear in the webinar could be triggering. If you do need to step away, we understand completely. Your mental health is what's important to us. You can always pull up the webinar on our Facebook and everything later on today. So November is actually National Runaway Prevention Month. Sorry about that. So the public awareness campaign is designed to shine a light on the experiences of runaway and homeless youth that often remain invisible. You'll see here on the right, there's contact information. If you have a client who feels like they have nowhere else to go, they can definitely call that number. They can actually even call our local teen center. Peg and the staff over there would be more than willing to talk to anybody who's experiencing problems at home, or just, they need a place to go and everything. When homelessness occurs, it's a devastating experience for any individual. The experience can cause negative impacts on an individual's physical and mental health, their well-being, how they function in everyday life, their human development, and even their life path. And with LGBTQ runaway and homeless youth, they're actually at a higher risk for negative experiences and outcomes. Sorry about that. So when it comes to runaway and homeless LGBTQ youth, out of all the homeless youth population, they actually take up 40% of that population. And when it comes to the homelessness in the community, they are more likely to suffer from depression, substance abuse, high risk of sexual behavior, mental health issues, suicide attempts compared to their non-LGBTQ peers. So when we talk about high risk of sexual behavior, they're more likely to become involved in human trafficking, such as if they would move in with a family member. We'll accept you for being gay or transgender, but you're going to have to start paying bills. You can, do these favors for my friends, or if they're trying to find love, they can always go to those individuals who are not always great for them, which could expose them to higher chances of HIV and other sexual transmitted diseases. So at home, oh, sorry, let me go back here. As it keeps. Thad, could you take me back to slides? Nope, I got it. There we go.
I say I cannot. You have full control of that.
I got it.
You good?
Yeah. There we go. Experiences at home. Youth often face alienation from their families, friends, and peers. They've also reported higher numbers of physical and sexual abuse from family members than their heterosexual peers. Depending on where someone comes from, their family's lifestyle, their religion, or just how, a lot of people say that old school term of what parents or grandparents think is norm, parents often don't understand, and they will isolate their child or make them feel not welcomed for their sexual orientation or gender identity. Now at school, it's actually been reported that 61% of LGBTQ students have reported not feeling safe because of their sexual orientation or identity. And 65% of transgender students have reported not feeling safe in school. And then 87% of transgender students have actually been verbally harassed or threatened, and 53% has been physically assaulted. So if a school is not trained on how to work with children in the LGBTQ community, they may feel like they have nowhere else to go. And that could be a reason for them to run away. You know, if they run away, they're not only running away from their home, but they're running away from that life at school and everything. Now, we're going to take a moment to focus on people of color in the LGBTQ community. I do want to let you know there's not as much research for individuals, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or other sexual identities, but there has been research shown that Latino and African American young men are most likely of any other ethnic group to be forced to leave their home. And a study was actually conducted in 7 different states that have shown African American men and Latino men have higher incidence of HIV. So they are more prone to coming in contact with an individual who has HIV, where they are having unsafe sex and everything. So it's important, especially living in Blair County, that the population is 94% of Caucasian. So it is important to know that if someone comes for us for services, they go to the shelter, that they're going to be understood that they might be seeing different things compared to their, you know, an individual from who is Caucasian and stuff like that. So we are going to focus on how us as a society can help, you know, our youth and our individuals and everything. So we always talk about goal planning in victim services, and we talk about goal planning at our local family shelter and even at our local teen center. We want to have those goals. So we want to make sure while our youth is coming to us that we support what their goals are, whether it is something that would be extremely extravagant to some of us or not on the same path, that we talk to them about their personal goals and how we can form them. And then also having access to diverse and integrated services. So we should be educated, we should take more trainings and have employment goals, different internet access that can, sorry about that, that is broad, that we can help them with their homework, reminders to stay on track. So we should have different services, such as whether we're using our Outlook, they're using a day planner, stuff like that, just different resources to be diverse, not only in their cultures and their identities, but also to be diverse in different ways to take care of themselves. And then also being able to help provide services on building life skills, such as money management, interviewing, personal care, you know, how to manage a household and everything like that. A lot of people think, oh, they're just children. Why do they need to have these skills? Not only do they have to have these skills to become a successful adult, but they also have to have these skills to know what they're going to face, how things may be different for them in the work field or different places they may travel to. So it's definitely, you know, these are great services for us to have and for us to be able to provide for them. And then this one is definitely one to focus on, helping our youth to maintain and demonstrate a positive attitude. I know, especially in the age of COVID, and it's scary that we have to say that in the age of COVID, it's hard for us, even as adults, to stay positive. But whenever you go to bed and you wake up, we just have to remind them, you're here. We're here to listen. You know, we want to help you to stay positive. So we need you here. The world needs you here and everything. We don't want our youth to feel like they have nowhere to turn to. Now, inclusivity and helping agencies, that's definitely, you know, something that all agencies should work on, such as having safe housing with adequate privacy, especially for non-binary or transgender youth. Sorry about that. If you have an individual who is non-binary or transgender, and they haven't gone through the full transition process, it may be really uncomfortable for them if they are female to male transgender to be placed in a room with other females or to be placed in a room with other males. There are certain parts of their body that they're not comfortable with, and we definitely would not want someone, we wouldn't want to feel not included ourselves. So it's definitely something that we want to make sure that we always have those options, such as gender neutral bathrooms and everything. And then education and employment, being able to answer those questions for them, how to address questions on applications, confusions in the workplace, harassment and discrimination, in educational settings and bathroom use, as I did mention. So it's definitely something that we should focus on. We talk about harassment and discrimination and everything. So being able to talk to them, well, if you're being harassed at school, these are the steps that you need to take. This is who you need to talk to. And then if you're being discriminated at the workplace, this is how you go. You start with this person and so on and so forth. That way that they know, like when they leave a shelter or when they're off on their own, that they can do this. And then we also want to talk about the healthcare services, including mental health, sexual health, trans-specific health, legal services, for timely name and identification changes, and securing government documents. It's definitely important for us to know that if a trans individual would come to us and say, hey, what are the steps that I can do to legally change my name? I no longer want to go by my dead name, which is the name they know they were given at birth but do not identify with. How do I go about that? What do I do? It's definitely great for us to have that information, even if it's in a folder somewhere that we can pull out and have all that stuff. And then healthcare services, mental health and sexual health. It's important to let them know about the resources in the local area that they would go to be tested, if something would happen to them or a sexual assault, to go to the hospital. And then mental health, I definitely want to focus on that. Individuals who identify with the LGBTQ plus community, they do have a higher risk of suicide and to be depressed. So it's definitely great to have different mental health services in the area, to have on file. Pull that file out, we can talk to you, like, these are the services, whether it's us at Victim Services and the other entities that are on here that have that for them, that we can just grab it and we're ready to go, so they don't think that we're completely confused about what's going on. And then most importantly is a strong social support networks, and then permanent interpersonal connections, especially if they have been told by their family you're not welcomed and stuff like that. Getting people involved in support groups or getting them involved with other individuals, if there's other teens at the teen center or even other individuals at the family shelter, getting them talking to each other, having that connection so they know that they're not alone. And if they ever need someone to reach out to, that they have those options. All right. And then safety and helping agencies. 1 second here. So one thing to focus on is when you have an individual come into, let's say, the teen center, they have unique needs if they're from the LGBTQ plus community. So it's important to know that each person that comes into any shelter, into your agencies, into a helping agency, that they know that they are unique. They're not going to be lumped into what society wants them to be. So being able to have those gender neutral conversations, it's all right to ask someone their preferred pronouns. If you would see an individual who they do have a more feminine name, but you do see that they are dressed a different way, it's okay to ask someone what their preferred pronouns are. And then if you would happen to misgender them, a lot of the time they would say, like, oh, I prefer to go by they, them, or he, him. So it definitely has that. Once you have that connection and everything, it's important to practice how we talk to our clients, how we use that gender neutral language, because that'll just make them feel inclusive. Well, when I go to, just for example, I go to family services, I know that they're welcoming to me, that they're going to understand that I'm not like everybody else. So that's definitely, things to focus on. And then some agencies in this study did not have in-house capacity to meet LGBTQ specific needs, but it's definitely something that you could have. It's important to have those rooms that are for, like, if you have like a single bedroom and stuff like that, you want to explain to them it's not because we think you're different or anything like that. It is for your safety. We want to make sure that you're safe, that you're comfortable. And if this is something that you're not comfortable with, you feel isolated, we can come back to that. We can talk about that. And it's definitely just showing, that equal relationship and everything. I always like to put in there about the safety. Because while you don't think that everyone is a horrible person, it's always, like I said before, people always have different beliefs. So if you have that person who may be uncomfortable with someone who is doing, gender reaffirming surgery and stuff like that, they might not get along and it might not be safe for them. And then also having those integrated services. Right now it's really tough because a lot of us are not able to come together to have those focus groups and stuff like that. But once we're able to have those discussions, have those groups, let someone ask questions, have someone there to be like, okay, well, I don't understand what non-binary means. Can you explain this to me and stuff like that? And having someone open to those discussions between heterosexual and cisgender peers. And then it does say providers from 40% of the agencies in this survey used an identity neutral approach that showed that equality. So that provided same services to everyone. And then, sorry about that. This strategy fails to recognize the impact on how different aspects of youth identify may have impacted their experiences with homelessness. So it's definitely something we don't want that identity neutral where we treat everyone kind of the same. We want each person that comes in there, whether they are LGBTQ, whether we have an African American child, a Latino child, a white child, what they experienced to a white child may be completely normal, but to someone who's from a Latino family, it could be completely off topic. That's not right. That's not normal. So that is actually the end of my presentation. So it's definitely important. These resources are fantastic. There are resources that you can print out for your staff. You can print out for your staff, anybody that comes in that you work with. I'm always here to answer questions for you, especially when it comes to LGBTQ. Like I said, I answer the hotline 8:30 to 4:30 every single day. And then there's questions if you call and I answer the hotline and stuff like that, or you call the main office, you leave a message, I'll get that. I'm definitely here to answer all questions for you, for youth and everything. And I'm hoping that once we're able to get back into the schools and we're able to get to our shelters and everything, that we can have more focus groups for these, for this community and everything. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you very much, Brittny. We are going to hang out here for a few minutes. Perfect timing. It is 12:30. We're going to hang out here in the chat for a few minutes. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat or in the question section. Resources for her presentation are available in the chat as well. Thank you, Brittny, and thank you, everyone. Have a good day. And like I said, if you have any questions, we'll be in the chat. Thank you again.